going to be done in the next few days?
No. No, we're on track exactly as to where we expect it to be. But I wanted to make sure there was enough, quote, running room that we wouldn't be able to do it all till September. There'll still be some forces left, but it's a rational drawdown with our allies, and it's making, so there's nothing unusual about it.
Are you worried that the Afghan government might fall? I mean, we are hearing about the Taliban is taking more and more districts.
Look, we're in that war for 20 years, 20 years. And I think I met with the Afghan government here in the White House, in the Oval. I think they have the capacity to be able to sustain the government. There's going to have to be, down the road, more negotiations, I suspect. But I am concerned that they deal with the internal issues that they have to be able to generate the kind of support they need nationwide to maintain the government.
I thought on Afghanistan.
I want to talk about happy things, man.
If there is evidence that Kabul is threatened, which some of the intelligence reports have suggested it could be in 6 months or thereabouts, do you think you've got the capability to help provide any kind of air support, military support to them to keep the capital safe, even if the U.S. troops are obviously fully out by that time?
We have worked out an over-horizon capacity that we can be value-added, but the Afghans are going to have to be able to do it themselves with the Air Force they have, which you're helping them maintain. I'm not going to answer any more questions on Afghanistan.
The Taliban are sweeping across Afghanistan, taking control of at least 30 of its 34 provinces over the last 10 days and their provincial capitals, including Afghanistan's second and third largest cities. Now they're in Kabul. Just last month, President Biden promised.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Why? Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped as any army in the world, and an Air Force against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan.
But now, President Biden has ordered troops back in Afghanistan, raising the total to 5,000 to secure the evacuation of the U.S. Embassy, which has now begun. The embassy staff have been instructed to shred sensitive documents and destroy computers. The airport is now the only safe way in or out of Afghanistan.
That's one of the reasons why we move these forces, or we're moving these forces into Kabul to assist with this particular mission, because we know that time is a precious commodity here.
Just 1,200 Afghans who work for the United States as interpreters or in other jobs have been evacuated to the United States. Roughly 88,000, including family members, could need to be evacuated, according to a nonprofit advocacy group.
We have a sacred moral obligation to help those who have helped us, and we're not walking away from that.
And the United Nations is warning of a larger humanitarian disaster.
If they arrest us, they will kill us. Everyone, they will kill us.
Given the situation right now, how do you see the future for women in Afghanistan?
Taliban are not afraid of the world superpowers. They're not afraid of the B-56 or B-52. They're afraid of the women.
The top U.S. general in Afghanistan warned last month that a Taliban takeover could allow al-Qaeda to rebuild.
If that pressure comes off, I believe they're going to regenerate, and I think it's only a matter of time before we see them assert themselves and begin to plan attacks against our homeland.
Now, as President Biden stands by his withdrawal strategy,
but we're going to continue to keep our commitment, but I do not regret my decision.
He's likely to own Afghanistan's collapse.
He owns this now completely. It isn't Donald Trump's Afghan policy, it's Joe Biden's.
It's a tragedy, and it's a tragedy that was entirely preventable.
Up until now, most Americans have supported the military withdrawal, which was initially announced last year by then-President Donald Trump. But some who served in America's longest war are asking what their sacrifices were for.
Back in July, you said a Taliban takeover was highly unlikely. Was the intelligence wrong, or did you downplay it?
I think there was no consensus. If you go back and look at the intelligence reports, they said that it was more likely to be sometime by the end of the year.
You didn't put a timeline out when you said it was highly unlikely. You just said flat out it's highly unlikely the Taliban would take over.
Yeah. Well, the question was whether or not the idea that the Taliban would take over was premised on the notion that somehow the 300,000 troops we had trained and equipped was going to just collapse. They were going to give up. I don't think anybody anticipated that.
We've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.